Your hands are shaking, and you don't know why. You're sitting at your desk, staring at a paragraph you've already read 4 times. And the words keep sliding off your brain like water on glass. Your chest feels tight. There is a low hum of fatigue behind your eyes that no amount of coffee seems to touch anymore. You glance at the clock. It is not even noon. You tell yourself, this is normal. Everyone's tired. Everyone's distracted. You just need a better night's sleep, maybe a vacation, maybe less screen time. Now imagine a neurologist pulling up a scan of your brain and pointing to areas that have already started to thin. Not because of age, not because of some inherited curse written into your DNA, but because of what you did this morning, what you ate yesterday. The World Health Organization doesn't call this a possibility. They call it a global health crisis. Dementia cases are projected to triple within the next few decades. And the research is brutally clear. The damage doesn't begin when you're old. It starts now, in your 30s. Picture this. It is 11:30 at night, and you're lying in bed. Phone 6 inches from your face. Thumb moving on autopilot through videos you will not remember by morning. Your eyes burn. Your body begged you to stop an hour ago. But something in you keeps scrolling, keeps watching, keeps reacting. Because putting the phone down feels harder than staying awake. You finally pass out sometime after 1. The alarm hits at 6:30, and you drag yourself vertical, already behind, already foggy, already reaching for the screen again before your feet touch the floor. Now here is the part that should sting. While you were lying there, half asleep but still consuming, your brain was waiting. It was waiting for you to go deep enough into sleep to activate its only cleaning cycle, a system that literally flushes neurotoxic waste out of your skull. Every minute you spent scrolling was a minute that system sat idle, and the waste it needed to clear, a protein called beta amyloid, the exact same protein found clogging the brains of Alzheimer's patients, just kept accumulating. One night of that, and researchers measured a visible spike, and you have been doing it for years. But you don't feel the buildup. You feel something else. You feel slow. You feel like the person you were 2 years ago could hold a thought longer. Read without rereading. Remember a name without scrambling. You chalk it up to getting older, to stress, to not drinking enough water. You never once look at the phone on your nightstand and think that thing is dissolving my ability to think. And then morning comes and you pour yourself coffee and grab whatever is fast, whatever comes in a wrapper, whatever takes 0 effort, because you're already running late and already exhausted. You don't realize that what you just put in your mouth is about to do something to your brain that no amount of coffee can undo. Think about the last week. Honestly, how many nights did you actually put the phone down early enough to finally get some real sleep? Drop that number in the comments. No judgment, just honesty. Because what happens inside your brain when you combine those short nights with what you eat the next morning is something most people never connect. Here is the part nobody warns you about. You sit down on a Saturday morning with a book you actually wanted to read, and 3 pages in, your hand is already reaching for your phone. Not because the book is boring, not because something urgent came through. Your hand just moved, like it had somewhere better to be. And for a second, you catch yourself and think, when did I become this person? You're not that person. You're a normal brain living inside an experiment. An experiment it never signed up for. 200,000 years of evolution built your mind for effort, for long silences around a fire, for the slow satisfaction of solving one problem across an entire afternoon. Then, in less than 2 decades, we handed it a device that delivers a new reward every 4 seconds. Your brain didn't break, it adapted. It moved the goalposts on what counts as interesting. And now, a conversation with someone you love feels like watching paint dry. Compared to 30 seconds of content you will not remember tomorrow. That flat feeling when you try to be creative. That strange guilt when you're doing nothing even though you're exhausted. That moment you open an app, close it, then open the same app again 3 seconds later without realizing. If any of that sounds familiar, you're standing in a very crowded room. Researchers at University College London tracked over 10,000 people and watched their cognitive sharpness slide in direct proportion to how much processed stimulation they consumed, digital and dietary alike. This is not a character flaw showing up in your afternoon. It is a pattern showing up in brain scans across entire populations. And the cruelest part is that the things stealing your edge feel like self-care. Scrolling feels like unwinding. Snacking on convenient food feels like fueling up. Staying plugged in feels like staying informed. So, when the fog rolls in, you blame yourself, you call it laziness. You wonder why discipline that used to come easy now feels like dragging a suitcase through sand. You were never the problem. The environment shifted underneath you while you were just trying to get through the week. And if you've ever stared at a ceiling at 2 in the morning, wondering why everything feels harder than it used to, I want you to drop one word in the comments. Just tell me what age you were when you first noticed the fog creeping in. Picture someone getting an MRI scan. The technician pauses, measures twice. Here is the mechanism nobody walks you through. Your body produces a protein called BDNF, sometimes called Miracle Grow for the brain. And its entire job is keeping neurons alive and building new ones. Every hour you spend locked in a chair, that production drops. Your hippocampus doesn't get the signal to regenerate. It doesn't pause and wait for you, it shrinks. Researchers put sedentary adults and active adults side by side in brain scans. And the difference was not subtle, smaller volume. And the thing that makes this cruel is how little it actually takes to reverse the signal. A 20-minute walk after a meal, that is it. Not a gym membership, not a transformation. Just movement your body was already designed to do. Stolen from you by a culture that rewards sitting still and staring at screens. But the brain isn't just shrinking from stillness. It is also being eaten alive by something even harder to detect. Harvard tracked hundreds of people for over 80 years, expecting money or status to be the thing that protected the brain. What they found instead was that chronic loneliness physically dissolves brain tissue. Your brain is a social organ. Huge portions of its processing power exist solely to read faces, interpret tone, and predict what other people are thinking. When you cut that input off, your brain doesn't rest, it panics. It flips into threat mode, the same state it would enter if you were being hunted, and it stays there. So the real question isn't whether these habits are affecting you. They already are. The question is which one got to you first. Drop your answer below. So your prefrontal cortex is taking hits. Your hippocampus is shrinking. Your nervous system is locked in a gear it was never meant to stay in. The question now is, what do you actually do about it? Not next month, Not when life calms down today. Because your brain isn't waiting for you to get organized. Here is your first line of defense, and it sounds almost stupid. 5 minutes of breathing. Inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 6. The longer exhale isn't some wellness trend. It directly fires your vagus nerve, the one cable in your body that tells your entire system to stand down. Cortisol drops, your parasympathetic response kicks in. The fog lifts just enough for your prefrontal cortex to come back online. 5 minutes. You could do it in a parking lot before walking into work. You could do it sitting on the edge of your bed, right before your feet hit the floor. It is embarrassingly simple, and that is exactly why most people skip it. They're waiting for a solution that matches the size of the problem. But your nervous system doesn't need a grand gesture. It needs a clear signal. Now, here is the second protocol, and this one is going to feel uncomfortable. Pick up your phone and call someone, not a text, not a voice note. A real conversation, where you hear another human being respond to you in real time. Harvard tracked people for over 75 years, and the single strongest predictor of mental and physical health was not income, not exercise, not diet. It was the quality of close relationships. And texting doesn't get you there. Your social brain networks, the ones that regulate emotion and build resilience, they only fully activate when you hear a live voice responding to yours. One call, that is the prescription. But none of this works if you can't even recognize what is happening to you. And that is the real trap. Chronic stress doesn't announce itself. It disguises itself as your personality. If there is a low hum of tension running through your body most of the day, if you can't actually relax even when nothing is wrong, if you wake up already feeling behind, that is not who you are. That is a nervous system that forgot how to come back down. You've been in fight or flight so long it started feeling like home. So, the protocol isn't complicated. Breathe with intention, connect with one real voice, and start treating that background tension not as normal, but as a warning light you've been driving past for years. Your brain can recover. Neuroplasticity still works in your favor, but only if you stop the bleeding first. And there is one more habit left on this list, that almost nobody connects to any of this. It looks productive, it feels responsible, and it might be the one doing the most invisible damage of all. Think about what you do in every single quiet moment of your day, and ask yourself, when was the last time you did absolutely nothing? Tell me in the comments. I want to know. So here is the part nobody wants to sit with. You've heard the 7 habits, you've seen the neuroscience. You understand, at least intellectually, that your brain has been taking damage in broad daylight from things that felt completely harmless. And right now, part of you wants to close this video and go back to doing exactly what you were doing before. That impulse, that pull to scroll past the discomfort, that is the very mechanism we've been talking about for the last several minutes. But something kept you here until the end. And that something matters more than any habit stack or morning routine anyone could hand you. Because this was never really about 7 bad habits. It was about one question. Who is running your life, you or your defaults? Every habit we covered, the sleep you sacrifice, the movement you skip, the processed food you reach for without thinking, the isolation disguised as independence, the stress you wear like a badge, the overstimulation you call staying sharp, and the silence you refuse to sit in. None of them started as a conscious decision. They crept in. They became the water you swim in. And the most dangerous thing about water you swim in is that you stop noticing it is wet. You're not broken. Your brain is not ruined, but it has been running someone else's program. The feeds, the notifications, the algorithms. The productivity culture that tells you rest is laziness and boredom is failure. All of it wrote code on your nervous system without asking permission. And the only patch that works is not a supplement or an app or a 5-step framework. It is a moment of choosing, one single, unglamorous, unsexy moment, where you decide that your attention belongs to you. Tomorrow morning, before you pick up your phone, give yourself 10 minutes of nothing. No input, no optimization. Just you and whatever your mind decides to do with the quiet. Now I want to know something from you. When was the last time you sat in complete silence? No phone, no background noise, no distractions, and actually let your mind wander? Drop it in the comments. Not what you think the right answer is, the honest one.